What do you do for a living?
Right now, I am a training consultant. Basically, I build and set up training programs for different organizations, as well as teach them.
Do you think that it's a good profession?
Erik, it's the end of my profession. My profession, if somebody were to ask me what I really do, I'm a heavy-duty mechanic by trade. Everything else I do, my training and teaching, sales, and doing this training consulting is basically from my heavy-duty mechanics.
When did you decide that you wanted to become a mechanic?
God. I think it was after I left the farm and started working at this farm dealership is when I actually really thought about, hey, I can make good money being a heavy-duty mechanic. Mm-hmm. The other thought about it, and this is something a lot of the people don't realize, is that as a heavy-duty mechanic, I have never been out of work in my life. So it's something that you look at as longevity.
Would you recommend being a mechanic?
I would say yes. In today's world, the heavy-duty mechanic field that I joined years ago was a broad-based heavy-duty mechanics. You could do agriculture, you could do heavy-duty, you could do truck and transport. Since then, they've watered it down so you could be a truck and transport mechanic, or you could be an agricultural mechanic, or you could be a heavy-duty mechanic. Basically, the heavy-duty mechanic is still the most satisfying part of it, although I think agricultural mechanics would probably be the next place that I would really go to. But it's a good occupation over the long period of time.
So, what is a heavy-duty mechanic, and how is it different from other mechanics?
A heavy-duty mechanic works on, I could say it this way, most of the people that work as a mechanic have a 3/8 socket set. In other words, it's a 3/8 square drive. Heavy-duty works with 1-inch square drive. It's a little bigger, a little more work, but you do everything with help, with cranes and lifting devices and stuff to make things work. But it's working on all the heavy construction equipment. That's what's nice about it, because it's big enough you can crawl into or onto. It's not like a car where you have to have tiny fingers to reach tiny spots.
So are there any courses or skills that can set a mechanic above the others?
What do you mean?
Like skills that will help you become better.
To become better as a mechanic?
Mm-hmm.
I think having an open mind and being able to read well is very, very important, because technical manuals are all written in level 1 university English. And not having a good reading skill means you can't get the information out of the manual. So for a heavy-duty mechanic, it's not just to have a hands-on skill. You've got to have good reading and good communication skills. Okay?
So, in today's world, is there a lot of work for mechanics?
In today's world, you will never be out of work if you want to work as a heavy-duty mechanic.
So are there any special tools that you use for a heavy-duty mechanic?
Yes. My toolbox that was personally owned by me took 11 years to acquire. And I would say by the time I was finished acquiring all the tools that I needed to work with as a heavy-duty mechanic, I was probably looking between $8,000 and $11,000.
Oh wow.
So, but you don't have to buy them all at once. You buy a base set, and then you start building what you need where you're working. My nephew, he's my nephew. I gave him my set of tools when he said he wanted to be a mechanic, so that he had a base to work from. And he's still using them today because he works as a heavy-duty mechanic for the city of Calgary.
So how has this affected your life?
The whole concept of the heavy-duty equipment technician or heavy-duty mechanic, I've never ever been out of work. And I think there's a lot of people that could say, there's a lot of people that can't say that they've been out of work. I've never been out of work being a heavy-duty mechanic because I can move from one place to another just with my trade ticket. And I think that gives me longevity. And it also means I've always got my bills paid.
So what kind of schooling did you go through to get where you are now?
Well, where I am now, I took heavy-duty mechanics as a 4-year apprentice program in 1970, 71, 72, 73. Basically, I took my heavy-duty apprenticeship training in Alberta. After that, I took my automotive training, which was 2 extra years. And then I went back to SAIT and I took my automotive service technology diploma, which gave me just another piece of paper because I was able to do that. And then the last thing I did is when I left working for the municipal district of Rockview and I became an instructor, I was able to then use my heavy-duty licenses to start working as an instructor and started working on my Bachelor of Education degree. And it was a stepping stone that was not there, and it's still not there, where these degrees or diplomas can be moved into a degree from a university because there's still a lot of closed nets. They don't like to say, yes, you've done this for this many years, but you've got to take everything all over again. And that's typical. But with my life, I've been able to reuse everything right through to my end, and that's why I'm only 4 courses short of my Bachelor of Education.
What kind of things do you work on?
When I was working as a heavy-duty mechanic, I was working basically on the heavy equipment, dozers, excavators, wheel loader hose, most of the large equipment. The hydraulics is a huge issue for heavy-duty mechanics, and hydraulics was something I enjoyed working with. So the bigger the hydraulics, the better it is. I worked on the first hydrostatic dozer that came into Canada in 1974. So that was a long, long time.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a job that was too hard and above what you could do?
Oh yes. Oh yes. As a heavy-duty mechanic, there's lots of times when you're by yourself somewhere and you have to do something. And you can't get in and do it with a piece of equipment to help you raise it or lift it or something. You have to basically be body strong to do it. I lifted a 200-pound double clutch up into a tractor by myself, and it took me 4.5 months to fix my back after I did it. But the tractor was running. That was it. And then I don't know if you know where Many Berries, Alberta is, but it's out in the middle of the prairies. And I was working on a fuel system. It was upwards to 40 below. And the fuel was so cold on your hands that your fingers just went numb. And I said at that time, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. That's when I became interested in being a manager or a shop foreman or going into teaching.
So I take it you often work with other people. Do you find it easier or harder working with other people?
I find it satisfying working with other people. I think and I'll use the term, I think I'm a little bossy, but it's because of the experience I've had. It gives me that right to be a little bit above. But on the other side of it, you work with someone all your life, no matter what you work in. And in heavy-duty mechanics, there's always a time when you're working with the customer, you're working with an operator, you're working with another person to give you a hand to do the job. And you've got to have the rapport to do that.
So one last question. Looking back on all this, do you think this was a good career choice for you?
Oh, there were days when I wouldn't think it was a good career choice, but there are other days when I'm glad that I did everything I've done. At my age now, looking back and saying, did I have a good career? Yes, I can say I did, because I'm comfortable in my retirement. And I think it's good when you can look back and say, well, I didn't make too many mistakes. But I think the strongest thing I can say to people today is find something that someone always needs as a career, and you'll never be out of work. That's about the way I look at it.
So thanks a lot for doing this with me.
I hope that'll help you.
Mm-hmm.